Welcome back to another video. Um, Today, I don't really have anything going on. I don't really have any projects in the works. Um, it's been a crazy couple of days. I hurt my rib again, so I'm trying to take it easy. But on the plus side, Thor is outside beating his hammer today, getting real severe thunderstorms, and it's beautiful. I love it. So I thought we'd take a few minutes and talk about the gods and how we associate with them and how we see them and look up to them. Not look up to, look at, I guess. I feel like anyone who is in our faith has a specific god or goddess that they look to more than any others. I myself look at. I lean towards Thor a lot more, and I know he's the god that everybody first thinks of. But to me, it's not about that. To me, it is. It's more of the strength that he embodies. He is the personification of strength, and it's not physical strength. I am not the strongest human being in the world, but it's not just physical strength. It's emotional strength, strength of will, stubbornness. And I am an incredibly stubborn person. As well, you could ask my wife; she'll tell you the same thing. But I look to Thor for strength in many aspects of my life. The strength to make it through a tough situation, the strength to get up in the morning. Because as we know, some mornings are worse than others. And then there is the physical strength. The strength to do the labor around the house, to build things, to do what is needed, both physically and mentally. But I don't just look to Thor for strength. I look to Odin for wisdom, or Tyr for order. I like to think I know a thing or two about a thing or two. I don't know a lot about a lot of stuff, but I do know some things. And in those things that I do know enough about, I feel I can educate and teach on them. But I'm also a fan of order for Tyr. I like things, and it's not just like law and order. It is order as opposed to chaos. I like things to be in their place. I like things to happen a certain way. You could call it OCD. I like to call it order. Because without order, there's chaos. Pure, unadulterated chaos. And chaos terrifies me. Just for the fact that at the end of the day, if all we have is chaos, then sanity is gone. If that makes sense. But let's not dwell on that. Let's talk about Loki, for instance, the trickster, the mischievous god. Loki can be appreciated for his humor. Now, sometimes his humor puts you right at the butt of the joke, right? Sometimes, though, with the way things happen, I feel like he puts his fingers in your fate, in your web, and just messes around a little bit, adds his little twist on it. And he can be funny. He can. Because sometimes in life, you just have to take a moment and say, hey, I can't get mad about this. I can't get upset. It is kind of funny. If I laugh at it, it's easier, right? At least that's how I see it. I could be wrong, but that's how I see it. Now, I know that a lot of people within heathenry, when you start talking about the things Loki does, they get upset. They don't like him because he meddles in their lives. Well, he meddles in everyone's life, whether they realize it or not. And honestly, it's okay. It's just proof that he's there, right? We all seek confirmation that the gods are there and a part of our lives. And that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it. Is he likes to meddle in our lives and twist and turn things. But it's just proof that he's there. For example, if you are talking to a friend and they give you or they need advice on something, and you come out with advice that blows you away, just surprises you, that's Odin. You're sharing in Odin's wisdom. Or when you struggle to find the strength to do something, but you get up and you do it anyway, you're finding Thor's strength. They're there. They might not be directly doing anything, but they're there. Their traits and personalities, I feel, span the world. Now, the reason I'm talking about the most well-known of gods is because for anyone watching these videos that doesn't know a whole lot, hasn't really looked into it, it's a good starting point because there are so many more. So many. You've got Njord, the god of seafarers and wind. You've got Skadi, the mighty giantess, huntress, goddess of winter. Forseti. He is essentially, for those who don't know about him, he is essentially the god of laws. Law and order, as it were. Not to be confused with Tyr, who is the god of justice and law and order. And war. Tyr is the god of war. There are many, many gods and goddesses. There's the Jotuns. There's Hela, the goddess of death. Or Hel, however you want to say it. Um, I've heard it both ways. I know that the comic book movies like to put that feminine spin on it, so it's Hela. But the gods and goddesses that we pray to and offer to are vast in number. And they range in what they are god or goddess of. You know, if you like to go fishing in a kayak or a boat, you would offer and pray to Njord for safe travels on the water. At the beginning of every winter, I offer to Skadi for a mild winter. She didn't listen this past winter, but that's okay. That's all right. We survived. There are many out there, and I would suggest, you don't have to, but I would suggest that you make it a point to research them and learn about them if you haven't already. Because understanding our gods and how they are influencing our daily lives in some way, indirectly most of the time, is a good start to this faith. It is. It sets your mind in the right direction. Before I ever learned the runes or how to make a bind rune, I learned about the gods. And I started with Thor, which is, I think, what most people start with. Is who most people start with is Thor or Odin. But I suggest starting with the gods first. It's just a better, to me, it's a better way to start. It's more, gives you a better understanding of the whole faith as what it is. It is a pagan religion. It's heathenism, basically. And it is to me, I grew up Christian. I did. I grew up Christian. I grew up Baptist. And I watched a lot of churches fall apart, a lot of pettiness, a lot of infighting. And then I gave up on religion for a long time. I was 8th grade, I think, when I decided there was no God. And I didn't know a whole lot about other religions at that time. So I went years without a belief. And then one day, I was married to my wife. Well, no, we weren't far from getting married. And I was sitting on the couch one day. It was one of my days off, and I was on my phone. And I was on Facebook, and I found a group out of Iceland that are heathens. And I had to use an Icelandic translator to talk to them. But they started to share with me their beliefs and how it applies to their daily life and the gods and goddesses, and it weighed on my mind for a while. And then one day at work, it clicked. This is what I'm supposed to believe. I know it. I feel it in my heart and in my mind. And from that moment, I've been heathen. I know it's not the most exciting story in the world, but it's important to me because it's how I came about who I am and what I am today. I'm not the wisest man in the world. I'm not the strongest man in the world. But I know enough to understand. And that's all we really hope for. That's all we can really strive for, is to know enough to survive and understand. So this video has been more of a been a little more educational, I think. It's also suddenly turned into a diary. But that's okay. That's all right. But I'm going to stop there. I could probably talk about this for hours. Might do a live stream on it or something. I'm not sure. But be sure to hit that notification bell. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.